I will start this over once the blinds are down.
Hi, I'm Joel, Cinematic Director.
Hi, I'm Suzanne, narrative producer.
So if I had the chance to explain my job and what it is I do to one of our younger audience members, I would probably focus more on what brought me here, what makes me passionate about the job. And that's really to craft and tell stories that we can play.
My role is to bring together all of the artists, all of the writers, and everyone that's involved in crafting the story and supporting them the best way that I can. You know, how can everyone sort of do their best work so that we're able to ship the best possible game?
One of the games that was the most impactful on me and influential on me in getting into where we are now was definitely Mario. But what kept me engaged was how they were able to innovate constantly between console generations. So it always impressed me that with a world as tightly built as Super Mario Brothers, they were constantly able to take that franchise forward with every generational leap. And I just love when you can marry a fun, approachable, exotic world like that with clever, intuitive, and engaging mechanics.
One of the more earlier games that I love to play were just actually a whole bunch of series of the different CR games that were out there. I loved King's Quest, I loved Police Quest, I loved Space Quest, I loved all of the quests. And then seeing how over the course of my childhood, they became more, in depth, how eventually there was just text, and then there was actually music and sounds, and then there were like actual VO and movies and stuff like that. And that's really what got me interested in sort of the narrative within video games.
I remember Space Quest was the reason I upgraded my monochrome green 16-bit color monitor.
I was always begging my dad for the next, best computer. Oh, but can we get this? There's this thing called a CD-ROM, and that's the only way we're gonna be able to play, this next King's Quest.
My journey getting into Star Wars Squadrons started a few years ago when the team that was currently on Squadrons got to a point in their relationship with Lucasfilm. I think they all realized that, you can't make a Star Wars game without story. But at that point, they brought on myself and the cinematics team to work with the writers at a narrative level to execute on that story.
So I was involved very, very early on. My role was to look after our relationship with Lucasfilm. And then, as Joel said, as it looked like there was going to be more of a story, I started to take on more of a narrative role as a narrative producer within the project. And so I sort of transitioned and was able to sort of bring my passion for narrative and bring you the game that you see today.
I would have to say that the last 4 months of the project, I felt that the team were really starting to fire on all cylinders. And so by that point, we developed an intimate understanding of our processes. It was clear what the quality expectations were that we were trying to hit. And so it really empowered us to charge forward and really clear that finish line in a very positive way.
I would have to say that my favorite memory from the project would be when we were at PCAP, when the cast first saw all of the props for the ships. We actually built the cockpits out of like plywood and all sorts of different. They had little knobs that they could touch and play with. For both of our groups, the Empire and the New Republic, being able to see that and get into those cockpits, it really got them excited and just really pumped up. And we're like, wow, yeah, we're making a Star Wars game.
I'd have to say that Star Wars has been very influential on me. It carried me through a lot of my formative years. But then as I transitioned into a slightly older man, I began looking back to Star Wars as a reference point creatively. Star Wars has always been kind of a cornerstone in my life. And so it does feel like home for me.
One of the things that excites me about Star Wars is really looking at the fandom and how passionate people are. I love when we're able to see the reaction of fans, as they're playing the games, as they're interacting, on the internet. For some people, it's been a part of their life since they were young kids, all the way up to, people that are just newly discovering it. And for me, that's something that I really love. Star Wars is for everyone, and everyone can find a place within the universe.